So what is your 30-year plan? I asked this question on my Facebook. When did I ask this? 20 hours ago. So about this time yesterday. And it's interesting, some of the answers that I got. So they're public record because they're on my Facebook. So feel free to come and take a look. And I have to tell you, I'm kind of shocked by some of the answers that I got because, many of them, now I know I have a lot of friends that are retirees and a little bit older, but they're like death, waiting to die, planning to get into a nursing home. And I'm like, that's your plan? Like, that plan sucks. Like, I love you, but that plan sucks. So, oh my goodness. So welcome to Shake Talk. I do have my shake. I'm coming back from a cold. I'm coughing a little bit. I hate air conditioning. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I was at a 5-day conference in California, in Los Angeles, and 2 days of airport and travel days on airplanes, and my voice came. Anyways, so here I am. Good morning. So what is your 30-year plan? And if you don't have a 30-year plan because you think you're going to be dead in 30 years, make a 3-year plan. Make a 5-year plan, 10-year, 20. I don't know. The odds are that most of us listening on here will still be around next year. So how about next year? I just looked at 30 years because I was listening to the song My Next 30 Years by Tim McGraw. And I'm pretty sure he wrote it on his birthday, but or not his birthday, but about a 30th birthday. Because it says, I think I'll take a moment to celebrate my age, the ending of an era and the turning of a page. It's time to focus on where I go from here. Lord, have mercy on my next 30 years. So it's like, didn't really say he was 30. It just might, And I'm like, no, this applies to pretty much everybody. So in my next 30 years, I'm going to have some fun. Try to forget about all the crazy things I've done. Now, maybe I've conquered all my adolescence fears, and I'll do better in my next 30 years. My next 30 years, I'm going to settle all the scores, cry a little less, laugh a little more, find a world of happiness without the hate and fear, figure out just what I'm doing here in my next 30 years. I'm going to watch my weight, eat a few more salads, and not stay up so late. Drink a little lemonade and not so many beers. I'll remember my next 30 years. So the whole song is about, little life's pleasures, the things that, we, quote unquote, should be doing on a regular basis to, in my world, I call it assuring your quality of life. And when I asked this question and people were like, yeah, I'm going to be dead. I'm not, 30 years, we're too old. And I was like, yeah, but what about the next few years, And one of my friends says, she said she's 69. She goes like, that's a fun question. I'm like, great. So what do you plan on being when you're 99? And she was like, and she gave a little story. So you can go and read it if you want to. But this is my point about this post is so many times we just kind of get up and kind of wait to die. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're not doing things to make life juicy and delicious or fulfill the juicy and delicious life that we have, what are we doing, right? Like, how are we spending our time? And I know a lot of people that are retired and, they get up in the morning and they do the same thing. If it's Monday, they do this, and if it's Tuesday, they do that. And if they are happy, great. But I also know many of them have a lot of illnesses and they're weak and they fall down and they break bones and they're hoping, praying that they don't go into a nursing home or have the money to have someone take care of them. And I was like, there are ways that you can start today to make tomorrow and the next 10, 20, or 30 years easier. And I've been a little bit on this rampage. And I'm not getting off of it. Because at 56, I am so grateful what I know now that I didn't know in my 30s. And I am pissed that I didn't know that in my 30s. But I'm not going to belittle and begrudge and be upset all the time that I didn't know this in my 30s. But now because in my 50s, I know it, I get to teach my children in their 20s and 30s. And that's the way wisdom works. This is how we create a better next generation. I didn't have all the answers, especially around my health. And even being in the health and wellness industry for 20 years, I was like, I got this. No, right? I have a functional medicine doctor a friend of mine, and he said to me the other day, he goes, I started looking at all this menopause stuff. I am shocked. He's been a functional medicine doctor for 41 years. And he had no idea about perimenopause and all the symptoms and what it does to our heart, a woman's heart, and what it does to a woman's brain, and what it does to women's bones. He had no idea in over 40 years as a functional medicine doctor. Don't even get me started on the MDs, the allopathic doctors. Unless they were trained, they don't know. They only know what they are trained in. Functional medicine doctors kind of take a holistic approach, right? Anyhow, so it's fascinating. And I spoke to a 40-year-old woman yesterday, and she's like, I'm starting to get nervous because I don't know what to expect. She goes, I see all these people making jokes online, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, we need to have a talk, because there's so many things that in our 20s and 30s that if we as women would have known, our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond are better. But even in our 60s. So something as simple as how to get stronger bones. And I'm not telling you to drink milk, because that's bullshit. There's a frickin' back in the day, the milk industry, the Canadian dairy farmers or the American dairy farmers said, hey, drink more milk. It's a crock of crap. Anyways, not that it's saying it's bad for you, but it's not going to save your bones. So if you're not doing things today, I don't care how old you are, whether you're 50, 60, 70, 80, 20, it doesn't matter. Every single day, there has to be, you're doing something to make you better for tomorrow, because aging is not an option. We have to age, but how do we age less? I'm not talking about anti-aging. I'm not talking about getting Botox and facelifts. All that's just BS. What I'm talking about is, what are you planning for your next 30 years? And if you're in your 30s, maybe you should be planning for your next 60 years. Plan to live to 100. But more importantly, plan to live well to 100. Because whenever I tell people I'm going to live to 123, they go, oh my God, I don't want to live that long. And they make that face. And I'm like, but what if you could feel as good as you did in maybe your 20s or 30s and live until you're 123? How cool would that be, to see the generations of your family, to see technology, to see, how the world changes? Like, how cool would that be? And they give me this face because they've never allowed themselves to think that getting old doesn't mean decrepit and decline and disaster, right? We are trained in this part of the world. We are trained that getting old sucks. I'm excited. Now, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get old. No, but I'm excited to see the journey and the path that I can create for my next 10, 20, 30, even 40 years. I'm 56. So in 40 years, I'll be 124. And I decided I'm going to live to 123. So let's go 39 years. But I'm starting to think about that now. So I'm jumping. You know what? Jumping's great for your bones. Go skip down the street. Hard jumps, right? Do some of that. There's so many things you can do. If you're following me, you're going to start getting some tips and all this kind of stuff that I'm learning. If you're interested in working with me, let me know. I have all kinds of options available for people. But the most important thing, and the reason that I'm asking you this question, what are you going to do for your next 30 years? What's your 30-year plan? The reason I ask you that, because you do not want to die before your time. Death comes slowly to those who don't give a shit. I give a shit. I'm going to be taking this body, training this body, strengthening this body, still playing pickleball, eating well, cheers, doing what I need to do so this body stays as vibrant and healthy as possible. There are a million things that you could do, and only one that you really have to do, and that's make a decision. Because from the day we're born, we're just dying. But how does that look? What is that going to look like to you? Are you going to hit your 50s and 60s and, oh, my grandmother, no shit of a lie. From about her mid-60s, every time she got up off a chair, she would do this. Oh, Jesus, take me now. Every time, because it cost her so much pain to get up. The poor woman, love her to bits, lived until she was 93, but always in pain, not having a good quality of life. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for my husband, for my children. Getting old is an option. It is not one that I am checking off. I will age. I will be 57 in April, and then I will be 58, and then I will be 59, and then I will be 60. And I will not be 60 years old. I'm going to leave you with this. In English, we talk about how old we are. That's our first problem. In Spanish, ¿cuántos años tienes? How many years do you have? In French, quel âge as-tu? What age do you have? But in English, we say, how old are you? Do you think that's a mindset already, that we're meant to get old? Because how many of you know somebody who has said things like, I am 56 years young, because they don't want to say they're old. So why don't we change some of that language, starting now? I am on level 5.6. I am on level 56. I don't have an old. I'm aging. That's what the human body does. That's what everything does. So my very important question to you is, what is your plan for the next 30 years?